Chapter 3.2 in your Excel textbook begins with talking about the if function, one of the most popular and most common used functions in Excel because it's very powerful. You can give it a logical argument. If this is true, then do this. And you can even tell it to do particular equations, formulas, based off whether a statement is true or not. And that statement can be a calculation, it can be a form of text, it could be a lookup value, it could be pretty much anything that Excel can read. So we'll see how to use the if function in terms of formulas. So we will have the argument be an Excel formula with having the function determine whether a student is passing or failing. And then based off the result of that formula and based off the cell references, it will either show pass or it will show fail. So to begin, we have to make sure that Q5 is active, and then we'll go up to the formulas tab and then click in the logical functions group and click if, and this opens up a dialog box with 3 inputs. To follow along in the textbook, we'll see that these 3 inputs correspond to the 3 main parts of the if statement: a logical test, a value if true, and a value if false. Scrolling down to the next page, we start to see the instructions. So for the logical test, we're going to say that P5 needs to be less than 0.7. 0.7 is going to be our value for passing. This is a C- in any class that you might take on the college campus. We're saying that a student's grade in terms of percentage, if it's less than 0.7, if that value is true, then in the value if true box we will write fail. If the value is true, then the output for the cell will be fail. If the value is, or if the logical test is false, then the output for the cell will be pass. And we can see that here. We can see that for our particular cell P5, the percentage is not lower than 0.7. The logical test is showing up false. So it's going to show up the value to where if the logical test is false, it needs to show up the value if false output, which we can see here is pass. And we can see the result that's going to show in this particular cell right here. This cell is going to equal pass. So we'll say OK, and there it is, it says pass. We can copy this equation down using the copy formulas. We can copy this in the cell range from from Q6 to Q24. And we can see which students are passing and which students are failing. Let me show you what the actual function looks like, or what the actual formula looks like when you type it out. If parentheses P5 is less than 0.7, then fail. But if not, then pass. And we can see that the reference changes as we go down the list. P7, P8, P9, P10, etc. With the if function, we don't have to use the dialog box, so we could easily type in the formula that we want. So if we wanted to type it in, I'd say equals, and then if I'd start typing it, I can select it from here. The first thing is going to be the logical test, so I'll do P5 less than 0.7. I'll put a comma to switch to the value if true. The value if true is going to be quotation marks fail. It's very important that we put text as the output to be in quotation marks. I'll put another comma for the value if false, quotation, pass, quotation, and then close it with a parenthesis, and there's my formula. I can easily copy this and paste it into the rest of the cell range for the column.